Throughout history, people have used cruel and unimaginable methods to punish and control others. Some torture techniques were so brutal that they seem unreal. In this video, we'll look at 10 of the most horrifying methods ever created. These are not easy stories to hear, as they show just how cruel humans can be to each other. Viewer discretion is advised. Stay with us as we explore these dark and chilling methods of torture. The Brazen Bull. The Brazen Bull was a gruesome torture device from ancient Greece, created by Perillos of Athens in the 6th century BC for the tyrant Phalaris. It was a large bronze bull with a door where victims were locked inside. A fire was lit beneath, heating the metal until it became red hot. As the temperature rose, the victim's screams echoed through the bull's head, designed to sound like a bull's roar. The victim endured severe burns and a slow, agonizing death. Originally used in Greece, it later spread to Rome, where Emperor Nero used it to execute Christians. The Brazen Bull remains infamous as one of history's most brutal torture devices, highlighting the depths of human cruelty. The Iron Maiden. The Iron Maiden was a brutal torture device that appeared in Europe during the Middle Ages, though its exact origins are unclear. It gained infamy in the late 18th century for its use in torture and punishment. The device looked like a tall, upright cabinet with sharp spikes on the inside. Victims were locked inside, and the spikes would slowly pierce their bodies, causing extreme pain without immediate death. The Iron Maiden was used to force confessions and punish people, inflicting both physical and psychological agony. It was notably used in Nuremberg, Germany, and other places, becoming a symbol of cruelty and brutality in history. The rack. The rack was a cruel torture device used in early modern and medieval Europe, with records dating back to the late 15th century. It consisted of a rectangular frame with rollers and ropes. Victims' wrists and ankles were tied to the rollers, and as the rollers were turned, their limbs were stretched apart, causing severe pain. This stretching often led to muscle damage, broken bones, and dislocated joints. The rack was used to extract confessions by inflicting extreme physical and psychological suffering. It was employed during events like the Spanish Inquisition, Queen Elizabeth I's reign, and the Gunpowder Plot. Torturers used the rack to force confessions through the combination of intense pain and the threat of further torture. The Judas Cradle. The Judas Cradle was a brutal torture device from the medieval and early modern eras, designed to inflict severe pain and extract confessions. It consisted of a pointed, pyramid-shaped seat, which was positioned with its sharp tip aimed at the victim's genitals or anus. Victims, often bound and unable to move, were slowly lowered onto the sharp point, causing deep injuries and intense pain. The more they struggled, the worse the pain became. The Judas Cradle was used during events like the Spanish Inquisition to force confessions from those accused of crimes such as witchcraft. It caused both extreme physical suffering and severe psychological distress, leading many victims to confess to avoid further torment. The Pear of Anguish. The Pear of Anguish, also known as the Spanish pear or choke pear, was a brutal torture device from the medieval and early modern eras. It was a pear-shaped tool made of metal or wood with parts that could be expanded by turning a key. This device was used to cause severe pain and humiliation by stretching and tearing tissues in various body openings, such as the mouth, anus, or vagina. Used to punish and shame people, it inflicted both physical agony and psychological distress. The Pear of Anguish was often used for crimes like blasphemy or sexual offenses, and its use has been widely condemned for its cruelty and human rights violations. Chinese water torture. Chinese water torture is a disturbing yet simple form of torture that relies on the repetitive dropping of water. The victim is restrained, lying flat or seated, with their head fixed. A container of water is positioned above their forehead, and a single droplet falls repeatedly on the same spot. Despite its apparent simplicity, this technique causes significant psychological distress. The constant, rhythmic drops create a sense of anxiety and helplessness, turning what starts as a minor annoyance into severe mental strain. Over time, the relentless droplets feel like persistent hammer blows, leading to extreme frustration and mental suffering. Though not as common historically, it is often depicted in media to highlight psychological torment and has been studied in sensory deprivation and experimental psychology. The breaking wheel. The Catherine wheel, also known as the breaking wheel, was a brutal torture and execution device used in medieval Europe. The victim was tied to a large wooden wheel, with their limbs stretched out and strapped to the spokes. The wheel was then raised on a pole, and the executioner would strike the victim's limbs with heavy rods, breaking their bones and causing severe pain. The victim would be left on display for hours or days, suffering from broken bones, blood loss, and shock until death eventually came. Used mainly for severe crimes like treason and murder, the breaking wheel fell out of use as more humane methods of execution were introduced. It remains a symbol of past cruelty in literature and art. The Spanish donkey. The Spanish donkey, also known as the donkey's perch or wooden horse, was a cruel torture device used in medieval and early modern Europe. It consisted of a wooden, triangular saddle that resembled a donkey. Victims had to balance on the sharp edge with their legs spread, causing intense pain to their genitalia and rectal area. Their hands were often shackled or weighed down, worsening the agony. The Spanish donkey was used for public punishment and to force confessions during the 16th and 17th centuries, including during the Spanish Inquisition. It symbolizes the extreme measures taken for punishment and control, and it has been depicted in art as a reminder of historical cruelty. The rat torture. Rat torture is a brutal and terrifying form of torture where rats are used to inflict pain. The victim is placed in a confined space with rats, which may be hungry or scared. The rats, trying to escape, bite and scratch the victim, causing severe pain and injury. This form of torture is extremely distressing both physically and mentally. Victims endure constant pain from the rat bites and live in fear due to the unpredictable behavior of the rats. Rat torture has been used throughout history, including during the Middle Ages and even in conflicts like the Vietnam War. Today, rat torture is viewed as a cruel violation of human rights and is widely condemned. Its history serves as a grim reminder of the lengths to which people have gone to inflict suffering and emphasizes the need to protect human rights. Scaphism. Scaphism, also known as the boats, was a brutal method of torture and execution used in ancient Persia. Documented by the Greek historian Plutarch, this method involved placing a victim between two hollowed-out boats or tree trunks with their limbs exposed. The victim was force-fed a mixture of milk and honey to induce severe diarrhea. This mixture attracted insects and caused infections, while keeping the victim alive longer. Insects would slowly consume the victim's exposed flesh, leading to excruciating pain and a prolonged, agonizing death. Scaphism was used for severe crimes and political dissidents in Persia, Greece, and the Middle East. Its extreme cruelty has made it infamous throughout history. While these torture methods are truly horrifying, they were often used to control and punish people. By learning about these dark chapters in history, we can work towards a future where such cruelty is never repeated. If you found this video informative, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more content. Your support helps us continue sharing important stories.